have fun. They just get to do what they get to do. So let's take a look at Agent Select. We will have a Gecko. It will be on Kron. Kayak is on Sage. Gorilla, break this down for me. How do you feel about this?
I mean, here you have two lots of like plant installation, right? You have the Gecko Wingman and you have the Sage Wall as well. I'm interested to see if there's going to be any TikTok walls, like walling top gen for Kayak with an AWP, or maybe like backside top site B. But honestly, I don't know really how I feel about it. It's kind of a throwback to the old days, you know, with the chamber, no duelist comp, the triple sentinel.
How often do we see Sage these days?
Yeah,
Never.
it's quite
How
rare.
often do we see Kayak on stage?
Once.
Literally,
One
he's
time.
only ever played this agent the once. So yeah, I'm intrigued to see how this will go. I think Crashes on the Tejo, he's had a really strong performance on that in previous maps, so that's no surprise. Boaster on the Viper and moving Chronicle onto the Gecko.
Yep. Vintage.
It's just,
Vintage.
yeah, I love it.
Let's just jump into the action because there's a lot of fun going on here. And as Nat's giving his speech, I'm sure he's telling the boys, we need to win this if we want to make Masters Toronto.
This is quite the composition here, Tom.
I thought Sage was dead.
We didn't know what to expect.
I'll be honest with you. I thought that there was no one picking the Sage anymore. So
Sage ult my composition, I suppose.
you know what? It was always, I think it was Anders, right? Who was like, there's the dream comp. It's slightly altered to what used to be the dream comp, but it still has the Sage in it. So, you know, Fnatic are still Sage believers. Maybe they'll convert some others into Sage believers. I am yet to be convinced. What I am excited for is we do have that Kiko back on the Jet. It didn't necessarily work out too great last time around, but some of the peak performances I've seen from him was on that roster. And wow, yeah, a very different team. Very different looking the Team Liquid back then. Yumpy, in fact, playing earlier today.
He was, wasn't he? And that's, I think, bringing a little bit of a different flair to the IGL role than what we would have seen back in that day. Team Liquid, defensive start here on Icebox. And Fnatic, well, we don't know what to expect. This composition coming into play is going to be a lot of fun to watch. They're on the attack, and they've already lost one. It's Alfier falling to Kiko. He was having a lot of success with this very same head-to-head, going back to split. But in the end, Fnatic were able to climb their way back. For now, a 4 versus 5, the same challenge for Fnatic.
Jack of all trades and master of pretty much all of them. Chronicle back on the initiator. It's always exciting to see what he can do. Potential for more aggression, but also allows a lot of different variations of them getting into the plant, post-plant, and more importantly, the retakes. I still think that's where that Sage Wall can have the majority of its value. It's been a while since I've seen anyone rezzed as well. You kind of forget that ultimate even exists with how things have been going recently. The Kiko fight not going too well for either side, but the plant is going to be coming in. Oh, no, it's not.
So you thought. So you thought, but the nade goes in. Now here's the wall. A little bit of safety to get that plant in. An orb, oh, it was not quite thrown through. Boaster falls, Chronicle in the same spot, and it's going to be hard for Kayak to fall back. He has to battle around this wall, and he's doing so with great success. Only one left, and it crumbles just like that. Fnatic 1-0.
So it seems like Kayak might not need to play the duelist. I think it'll be all right, lads. I think it'll be okay. You know, just coming in straight away with that. Like, the worst thing is as well is they knew exactly where he was. Like, he was stuck behind his own wall with just a crispy couple of shots.
And obviously he has the wall, so he didn't buy himself the Sheriff. And that being recovered over, and it was exactly the tool for the job. Wow, what a way to start it. I think Milan's hand might be sore again as Scud flexes those muscles. 1-0. And they've gone for, oh wow, Cam's already gone. Already taken out. Gone for a mixed buy here, just 2 pistols. Alfier can take a bit more of a risk. That's exactly what he's going to do. Hey, nice shots. The Sheriffs are landing so far from Fnatic.
Do you know what I've realized I've missed?
What's that?
Alfier Killjoy on Icebox. It's been so long. It's been so long. I feel like I'm reminiscing. Like, any time he gets near yellow, I'm just excited. I know what this man can do on this map, on this agent. And well, it doesn't seem like there's going to be any magic in this round for Liquid. Left with just the 2 Sheriffs to play with. Players caught running away. It almost felt like Chronicle just gave up on that one. And well, Kiko's found another. Fnatic definitely have to be careful, just based on cost alone. If they get another one quickly, we might even have to start talking about the round.
Surely not. No, there's enough time, especially with salvos gone in, to buy them that little bit of an extra window. The damage very much still on the cards. Kiko, well, he can't even get close to the spike. Snakebite going through. I suppose a bit costly in terms of the utility of Snakebite going down, but 2 picks, it looked promising in the end. Fnatic stabilized nicely. The 3 rifles carried through to the next, and a 2-0 start. Considering they were, was it a 2v5?
No, he walked into it.
The pistol could easily have swung the other way, and now they've got a leg up on this map.
Hey, look at the purchase coming up as well for Fnatic. It's about as good as it gets. Not only do they have the rifles, as you highlight, they've got the res available from Kayak. It helps when your superstar duelist plays an agent that can get a res. We've got the double up top. Camo basically being the bait. Well, the bait's got 1, but now do they expect the second player to be here? Well, already turning it back into a 5v4 scenario. That's why we have such an aggressive start. Yeah, let's see when he gets the next one.
Literally a round 3 res. Round 3 opening fight res as well. Not bad. Not bad at all. They can afford to play that a little bit more direct because of it now. The advantage is theirs. Kiko in a very nasty spot. Something you won't see very often held late into the round.
But he's
with
the only one there.
That's the problem. The drone's gone through, it's spotted him, and he won't quite make it around that corner before it's very much expected. Boaster still up in the spawn with that rotation, able to catch him. And now it's a 5 versus 3. Team Liquid won the opening duel, yet still their opponents have all their players. And it's Team Liquid on the massive back foot.
This surprise element has also faded because him being up here isn't the biggest shock now that they've left this site for so long. Kayak, immediate trade. Nats does well, though. He's given them a chance in this round. It looked like an impossibility. Serial trying to fight on that cross. Still not able to get the plant in. Nats looking to come in from above. Has managed to get another, and Serial's there alongside him. This round started off bleak with a 2-player advantage for the side of Fnatic, but Nats leading by example.
Yeah, going up on a top site with 11 HP, it's a risky play, but the wall being up gave him that little bit of room to maneuver, and he spots the barrel through it. This initial fight, though, something that shouldn't have went in his direction. You think for Chronicle, maybe he thought he was already dead, but the shots did not land, at least not in a meaningful way. That sliver of health is ultimately what makes the difference between a terrible start to a map that Team Liquid looked like they were going to win the opening pistol. And actually, them stabilizing and now being in a pretty reasonable spot. Camo, I mean, that is not pretty. Caught out by the salvos. His support taken down too as Kiko falls. It's a 5 versus 3 and an immediate advantage for Fnatic.
He just tried to catch the timing running through the salvos, but that has not worked out at all. The sheer level of aggression is met by the patience of this Fnatic squad, and Alfie already looking comfortable once again. Only Serial standing, and sure, he gets his man and another, but when you're in a 1 versus 5, well, you'd have to have the greatest clutch statistics of all time.
Yeah, it's all or nothing, and this time it is nothing, keeping them on the 1. Fnatic steaming into the lead, their attack side looking good. And their ultimate economy coming online into this next round. The battle for these orbs is also something that's not too easy to be won out by the other side. The immediate salvos coming through.
That's what I thought, bro. I can stand up. I'm getting a stand-up buff.
Oh, man. He's answering back. He sees them get loud. He sees them stand up on the other side, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Fair play. And the morale certainly in a good spot for Fnatic. This round should only see it build further, as there's a lot of weaknesses for Team Liquid to play with, and a heavy stack towards B.
Well, there's something about that round as well. It's like you look at the timing. You had the initial peak come through from Camo with his own flash. Then Kiko peaks, and afterwards the flash goes off. So it just looked a little bit disjointed. And that was enough for Fnatic to have some very, very easy and isolated opening battles. And we know that this squad, you go back in history about how good they are on the attacking side of this map. I think it's another one where Boaster is the king of calling. Almost surprising that we haven't seen this map come out sooner in the tournament for them, but picking it when qualification is available a chance for them to make that first Masters of the year, one that we have had expectations. Well, they're expected to make pretty much every single one. A stack in the right place, though, for Liquid, but that's really all they've got in their favor.
Well, one pick for Nats. Rifle now in his hands, and he's been able to work his magic already, and that was even with a Guardian.
30 seconds left.
Lockdown coming into play, Nats finally dropped, and here it is. The chance now to clean up the rest as the weaker weapons come cascading through. Kiko.
He's got a Bucky.
A Bucky and a Classic. Yeah, it's not
range from a flank.
Not quite what we're looking for. And Alfiers was watching it. He'll go down. Cloudburst to get the rifle. And this now, very doable. Look how low Crashies is, but Salvos will come online. Ult is there, but they're not looking for any of that. They want to fight. That could be a mistake.
Looking to try and find where both these players have gone to. They have now fallen back into more passive positions. There go the Salvos, and still unaware remotely of where these players are, even going to commit an Armageddon. Just buying that little bit of extra time, and Crashies will get the job done. 4-1. Fnatic extend their lead. Definitely a more dangerous scenario than expected with them running into the stack. And now, not only the weaponry, but more importantly, the ults come up for Liquid.
Yes, this is a round that they have to win, putting it all into it. A good attempt by Nats. But again, you just see that position from Crashies. He's got a double spray down, then Salvos and ultimate online.
We have like way too high chaotic.
They can at least be happy that the ult was used, that they were able to make this one look competitive, look close, that Kiko was able to take one with a Classic. Good timing on the flank, good space being taken in the background. Now Liquid call a pause. Again, acknowledgement of where they're at right now. An operator has already been bought up coming into this round. 4 ultimates in play. Credits down to 0 or 50. Sub 100 on every member of Liquid if nothing changes. And that is not a round that we can approach lightly. At 4-1 down, this is a swing round. This determines probably who's going to have the lead at the half, or if there will be one.
I think as well, going into this half, you look at their previous performances. We're facing off against KC, again, a team that ended up eliminated. They only managed to get 2 rounds on the defense. So that's where I'm kind of looking right now is, okay, how are this team going to be able to form on the defensive side now that there's not really the excuse of, okay, maybe there's a weapon missing, maybe there's an ult missing, maybe this play didn't go their way. They have everything here. Okay, the shields are slightly lower. That's the barest of excuses that I can give. But as you said, this has to be the turning point. An early 3 stack towards the B site for this defensive side. Having the expectation, maybe the battle for the orb, with a few players getting that little bit closer for Fnatic, but more so the potential of the Thrash being the one ult available for Chronicle.
It's a very clear early plan, but it's already disrupted, Tom. You see that the Killjoy doesn't have a turret down. That's because Salvos are targeting that early on. With that utility removed, there's now a gap in middle. The good thing is they can afford to commit to that on Team Liquid because they have a lockdown. So a little bit lighter on A would be possible. But now, Nats ends up popping his ultimate, feeling pressure before it's even being applied. I mean, a free piece of utility is more or less all they saw, and that's being put into play. Turret back up and online. That's going to be covering off the middle angle. Viper's Pit for A, and even the Gecko ultimate sent down B as a recon. That'll be available late round if they do end up with retake.
The switch up though, the immediate move towards middle. Like after having both sides pressured, Panitek though is there to try and hold the line. He's done well and has Nats alongside. The man who left his pit to try and support. He's still Alfia though, but look at the position of the spike. It's not going to be easy, the reuse of that Thrash, just to clear out any information that they can. It doesn't quite catch onto Alfia, but Crashy's getting out of this position alive should be very difficult. Kiko makes sure of it. It is ult spam to say the least for the side of Liquid, but it gets you around, it gets you around.
To be honest, though, that's a round that Fnatic are going to be obviously not happy to lose, but the amount invested on the other side, the panic shown early on, that doesn't say that, oh, well, they've got a response to our playstyle. It says they've used their ults to win a round. A ton used up early on, and hell, we might have seen the lockdown, only that that player ended up falling. And I think that was probably an aggressive wall by Kayak, something that we'll see more on the defense than here on the attack, but they get the mid-control. He walls himself up, I presume, or perhaps it was from Tube, and manages to find himself that pick deep into the spawn.
I say I don't mind it, though. Like, well, when you're 4-1 down, your economy's on the brink, use those ultimates. Kiko
Poison's off.
already finding one, and with Boaster not having a gun, they have actually put Fnatic into an awkward position of their own. So for Liquid, that could be one of the most important rounds to win. Kiko looking like he's going to go back for more, and well, I couldn't keep up with where the shot went. It looked pretty close. How is Crash? He's winning these fights. He's picked 2 players within the site, and he's just the ruse. 2 players now making a walk in towards A. Really serial here. Doesn't have an ideal weapon of choice. He should at least be able to deny the plant, but he's being wrapped on. He's got to be incredibly careful, and having to give away his position eventually will be taken out.
Really nicely played. They were isolating themselves, but now, buying time for the flank, but Nats is ahead of the curve. If they take that kill, the defuse can be found for free. Look how far away Boaster is. He needed them to stay alive on that site to buy that little bit more time, and he's walled out by his own teammate's wall. There's no Sage on Team Liquid. Fnatic having to save that rifle through to the next, and Team Liquid stringing the rounds together.
Yeah, I don't mind the usage from the previous round, and then it still got dangerous here. Like, I think it was again, Nats having to have these sort of big moments to turn the round back on its head, and they got a good view. But you talk about it, those pauses once more. 4-1 down, pause taken for Liquid, immediate response with 2 rounds, still fairly even in terms of what they've got on ult economy, and in terms of the rifles they are ahead. A good opportunity for them to get back to a 4-4 scenario. Of course, Kiko's position with the operator is one that definitely there to be expected. But they always still have to be careful. Those 2 ults plus Althea and Crashies with guns. This round's not that far away.
Well, that's it, right? Kiko can find himself a pick with the op or just a missed shot and get out of there, then lock down to recover the site. They still have utility on it as well. Information on these players towards B. That knife landing, it might sell that ruse, but again, retake A, something that Liquid will be comfortable doing. Turret's still online, so they know that mid is completely theirs, and there's a bit of a risk of the walk up through kitchen. And again, the turret will see it in the window.
They're going back towards Crashies. I think just maybe getting more ground than was expected. They could look to use that Thrash in this position, but still, there are multiple defenders here. Camo goes walking towards yellow. This might be a bit of a nasty surprise, but it has been spotted. Nats going forward, gets, seemingly caught, but never mind. He'll find 2 again. Individually on fire. And for the remaining 2, sure, Althea still has a rifle. Close to manages to get one with the Sheriff. There's a couple of low players around this position. They do have to be a little careful.
Time though. 20 seconds, 15 now. And Camo still holding that back yellow. He'll fall. They've got the utility here. Sure, no, they've got no utility, in fact. They'll have to deny this just by swinging. Swinging through the orb. And, well, that was an ambitious play. The jump about. Maybe expecting them to be low. Not quite low enough. 4-4 now. Team Liquid. It looked like they were trailing and about to fizzle out. They have managed to find their rhythm 3 rounds in a row now. And the beautiful thing about this is Nats grabs those. There is a flash up top, but it doesn't actually blind them in time. He's too quick taking the kills for that support to really matter, and all it does is stop the players further back from being able to get close and have any sort of a say.
I feel like you can say this on most maps, but Icebox Nats, there's high expectations. We know what we're going to get. Already though. Again, early usage of util just to deny any control of the orbs for the defensive side. Not going to allow them to get any bonuses, but a lot of information being grabbed early by Liquid. The knife, again, catching multiple players, challenging towards that B side, but it still seems to be the ultimate point of contention. Thrash, Res, Viper's Pit available for Fnatic, but Viper's Pit up against a lockdown is pretty much the perfect counter.
Minute on the clock and no information to play with. Slow creep up from Althea in mid. He's trying to use this orb to creep under tube. That's somewhere that I think it's one of the only gaps for Team Liquid that we've seen so far. Ult comes into play. Patatek dropping that wall now. And that's going to delay them by quite a bit, put the time very, very low. It even stops the orb from going up in middle. So Alpha can't really do anything about this. And And all the while, as you pointed out, Tom, these rotations have come through. Team Liquid got 4 players ready for the fight.
Oh, already. Camo goes swinging in. He was low. Kiko's done well, but Kayak's there with the trade. Plant
No charges left.
has come through. Potential for the res. There isn't going to be the spam. It's actually Kayak that goes down. In fact, they all start to fall, and now the only man standing was the Lurk. There's still a possibility. Both players need to cross, but the operator looking to hold, and in fact has already made it round that corner. Althea needs to get a move on. In fact, I don't think there's going to be anywhere near enough time, even with that extra little nano swarm. That diffuser will come through. Liquid will take themselves the lead. Panatek just watching for him to attempt to cross. And once more, I'm going to highlight it. A pause called by the coaching staff, 4 rounds in a row for Liquid.
Yeah, it can't be understated. We saw the same thing on Split.
3 health. 3 health while he was running through that util.
Once they realize that they've got some problems, that they think they've got the solution, it seems like they're spot on every time. Now the test for Fnatic, as they've called themselves a timeout here at 5-4. This was a lights out start. They looked like they were going to lose the pistol over on Team Liquid, but Fnatic end up claiming it, end up putting it 4-1 in the lead, and since then it has felt like utter dominance from Team Liquid, starting with a round that I wasn't too confident would be repeated. They put in so much so early on, but it ends up working out wonderfully. That lockdown we've spoken so much about hasn't even been needed, because the A site, by the time that they come to pushing it, there's like 2 players on the site, and the 1 defender is often able to at least fend them off long enough.
I'd say as well, though, that something we've noted throughout the series with these 2 teams is just a lot of what's important is that sort of mental state. I mean, I think Gorilla sort of pointed out as one of his 2. As like, if that's in a good position and you have the caliber of players, nothing else matters. So using those ults, maybe just to get them back into a position of, okay, we're competing in this map. Because at 4-1 down, they were getting rinsed. You spam a little bit, you go, okay, we're on the board, we can do this now. We have the operator, we have everything we need. And Liquid look like a very different team. And unfortunately for Fnatic, on their own map choice, that map choice that has been a staple of their history. Right now, it's just that.
Here. Placing sentry.
Look back at the first res we had come through. Huge impact, second, shut down immediately by Liquid. The rotations were there. There were 4 players in position.
Well, yeah, it was Kayak that got killed.
Yeah.
He reses, dies, and then Chronica's like, wow, I think I'm screwed here.
I don't think I'm getting away with that one. They said too many bodies to break the wall now. Challenge under tube. I said it was a gap, but that's in most rounds, not in this. Camo has his eyes set on the prize. The player's coming under, deleted immediately. The back yellow player not even spotted by Fnatic, as the numbers trail in a 1 versus 3. 45 HP for Alpha. And no real chance of taking this across the line. Look where the spike is dropped to. Even if he had it, getting onto the A site would be a challenge in and of itself.
Yeah, Panatek already around position. Have a hold in case he manages to lurk through mid. It is going to be an opportunity for a 1v1. Well, with the turret holding that range and the knife even giving them the info, that will be the full force of Liquid now grouping up just to fight this last man. I don't think they're going to take any liberties with Althea on the other side, and while Serial will remove his counterpart, a minimum of an equal footing for Liquid. And as said, the 2 times they played this map, the defense has been weak. 2-8, 4-8. Well, this is already the best performance we've seen on the defensive side for Liquid.
And it's not slowing down, Tom. That's 5 in a row now for this squad. That's ultimates coming back online for them. And yes, the same can be said for Fnatic, but now the shift in momentum, it seems like Fnatic are the ones that need those safety nets to be fallen back onto. We've seen disastrous rounds from that attacking side. We've seen success across the board for Team Liquid, and Kiko consistently looking for these opening duels. He's been denied quite a bit.
Yeah, this looked, at least the start of the round, potentially a lot more direct, and
he's going in.
He is. He's going to go straight back for a fight we've seen them take many a time. Nobody peeking over on the Fnatic side, though. Purely passive. When you look at the ultimates they have, you can understand why. Lockdown, Thrash, Armageddon, Viper's Pit. So much to play with in this round, and the same can be said for Liquid, but maybe not quite that caliber. Kiko's reposition, it's just missed. And that would have been Crashies. That would have been a lot of post-plant utility gone.
I love that too. He fires the shot on A main, instantly rotates, knowing they'd be that little bit more relaxed about
Now
that.
he's back there again.
If they were rotating, they'd go right into his waiting arms. And like you said, he's right back in position, although now the pit is up. Luckily, he's got a shorty to play with. The downside is that lockdown put into play aggressively. It'll force them way back. And Nano to cover them on the cross. But as you said, the other side puts in a lockdown. Luckily, they're able to cancel that out. Now a problem is Nats is stuck on the site, but is the defense going to be good enough to keep him alive? Yes, it is! Serial buys them that little bit of space, and with the pit up, there has to be a response. A pit in the other direction as Boaster will try to starve them of any space to play around, and it looks like it's working! They've ran into Kayak! Things going swimmingly for Fnatic. Finally, the defuse underway. It's halved already. It's getting damn close, but they'll drop it in the end. And now, the remaining players need to get on it fast.
Last player standing.
Down into that 1v1. Nats trying to stick it all the way through the wall. Crashies goes right down to the depths, right down to the last few seconds. And that's what it takes for Fnatic to win themselves around. That was counter card to counter card played throughout, just to try and outdo each other. No ultimates available anymore for Liquid, and only the singular Thrash left remaining for Chronicle. They used absolutely everything to get that 5th round over the line. And even then, it came down to a matter of seconds, and Crashies finding 3.
Desperately close. Even Wingman very nearly got it. I mean, he was about a quarter of a bar away from taking that across the line. Kiko showing absolutely no fear. This time, going earlier, going more aggressive, but he's in trouble. Gecko's ulti, Thrash on his tail. He won't be caught, though. Still safe. That Thrash might not be recoverable.
Gonna need a fair amount to do so. In fact, they might even need the sight him off. Kiko's still just looking for angles to be had, but with 15 pieces of utility being put into that backline, not really a spot left to hold. Wall already broken, and that's what we see it again. Just an attempt to try and re-aggress before they even get to the site. Spike will be dropped, but Althea responds in kind. Looking for a little more, but Kayak is there. And while only one standing camo to face versus 4, it's looking like an even half, but there is still one standing.
Have to get that plant in. Looks like they're deciding to just run it down. It's the right call. They've got the numbers, but it got close. Close as the scoreline in the end. There will be no leader at halftime. 6-6. Hell of a battle coming out from Team Liquid, though. Streaking together 5 rounds in a row. They had some serious momentum, some wind in their sails, and the second half up for grabs. We'll find out how it goes after the break. Well, Team Liquid 6-6 at the halftime, Tom. It's been a good recovery on what could have been a devastating half if things kept up after the first 5 rounds. But those pauses from the coaching staff, they've bought them a leg up. Coming into half number 2, you impressed with what Liquid have put down? Is the advantage in their court?
I don't necessarily know about advantage, but I do think that, well, it's not a bad stat to come out with. 47% on their opponent's map choice, but it's the best defensive side we've seen from them so far. And going into the attack, when they play versus KC, they managed a little bit more. Now, it's definitely not been their best map. Let's not pretend. This is one that Fnatic picked for a reason. But again, if history serves us right, Fnatic normally having those crazy performances over on the attack, they do have an awful lot of stall and potential for denying plants. I think that's going to be difficult for Liquid to face against.
So it utilized the deny map control in the first. Now it's the plants that they'll be looking to push back. Team Liquid deep in with Kiko. He's been getting aggressive on the defense and no change here on the attack. The space taken can already get them a plant. Kayak spotted down underneath. But how are they going to deal with him? It's a risk to go swinging in that deep, but oh, it almost worked out. But Kayak up to his old tricks here in the pistol. It's a triple off the classic, but still a 2 versus 2. He goes in through the orb, wrapping around, but it's not enough, leaving Serial on 1 HP. But the pistol round this time goes to Team Liquid.
Kayak trying his damnedest. You look at him, 17 and 9 on the Sage. It does feel like they're going to be having reses galore throughout this matchup, but it wasn't enough this time around. I'm genuinely shocked at how much he was able to get done with the classic. Just a lot of distraction as he spins on a dime, but ultimately it's Liquid to come out with an all-important pistol round. Well, Lohan at least pumped up. Not much invested. A single Sheriff for Kayak, which, hey, still something you have to fear. You just have to be a little bit worried. We go back to the first half pistol, and that's all you need to know. And it seems like the immediate read, not finding anything off the back of that Dizzy, and because of it, they're hightailing it to B.
They can't give the game away, though. Too much utility seen. Too many players spotted when that wall goes down, and Team Liquid will run back in the other direction. They've got a lot of space, a lot of control. The Killjoy on the other side is doing exactly the same, pushing up and making it through A. And in fact, there's nothing spotting for this. Team Liquid want to go back, but they have to make it past Alfier. He's looking the wrong way. And Nats, well, he clears his corners. That is going to be a 5 versus 4 and an A site wide open with deep spawn control taken already, and a deep fight won by Serial pretty much cements this round for Team Liquid.
Yeah, the idea from Fnatic, of course, is just try and catch them off guard, but with that perfect lurk out from Serial, there really wasn't much more to be had. Chronicle trying to do a little bit of extra damage, remove a gun or two, but it's not going to happen. Only a pistol loss for Liquid, a very clean round kicking off the second half.
They don't even need shields on most players. They're in a very, very healthy spot economically coming into the next round. And for Fnatic, well, the pressure may be on. 8-6, and a potential leap forward for that attacking side. As we said, you know, that defensive side performance from them is impressive, especially, you know, the scoreline being 6-6 is one thing. The way that they got there is another. They were looking lost, and they managed to find and carve out a significant amount of control in that half, streaking rounds together. Deja vu not far away from kicking in. They're already 2 in a row here. Fnatic got a bit of an under 2 play. This was a gap that Team Liquid left on their defense, and they're exploiting it immediately, already in kitchen.
There's a lot of players around this spot, but none of them really being able to deny. It comes down to Boaster to try and do the damage. And well, we've spoken a lot this season about his individual level going through the roof. 2 quick kills, and well, Paditek's sneaky play is not as sneaky as he thinks. Kayak watches him all the way and waits for the swing from Serial. A solid response from Fnatic, more importantly from Boaster.
Yeah, shutting that down before they got too close. That could have been a big problem on the side split as players funnel through kitchen, but finding the first, second adjusts, and he pre-fires it wonderfully. But Chronicle cleaning up the rest. It was left in pretty safe hands with Kayak. 19 and 10. You know, back in the day, you talked about this matchup, Fnatic and Liquid, going all the way back to First Strike, and back then we would have talked a lot about the Battle Sages. Kayak, he is reviving that.
I can't wait if that's the case. Give me more Mazzino on the Sage. He was the king. He was the king. I don't care what you say. That guy was the king of Sage. Okay, an early dink already. I believe that was Boaster spamming once again. In fact, I'm almost certain, because Chronicle's not close enough and everybody else has a Vandal. Leaves them in a little bit more of an awkward spot. Your duelist, the man meant to take space, so desperately low. But with 4 players already on this side of the map, the gamble really is over on the other side. A res for Kayak, but he can't bring himself back if he goes down. And well, eventually, the man tagged low initially is cleared up. The rest of the players looking to make their way back into A, but you can see the only idea for Kayak is get someone on the cross.
He spotted them. Even just the information's enough for him with the advantage already in their court. An audacious play from Kiko. 10 HP, plays behind a very spammable box. The most spammable spot towards B, the most commonly spammed. And then he takes a fight. Well, they were more than happy to fire right back. Spike given over to Nats. Will be just 2 away from that Viper's Pit in play, as Fnatic happy to play the retake. The res there, Kayak doesn't want to be the one taking contact, but look at this setup on backside. A high-low coming in from Camo and Serial, and it will be disrupted immediately. The salvo's doing well to put them on the back foot in this initial fight, and all Fnatic need to do is trade. Crashies goes down as Serial picks up the double. It's Camo to trade out, and now Fnatic on the back foot. Kayak having to do it all again, but he's got the res to bring Crashies back into play. A valuable player indeed, no ultimate and no salvos just yet. It's all about the swing, and he's caught wall in hand. Panatek does well, and the defuse needing to be stuck at least a half. Crashies gets him, and within just in the nick of time, he'll take it across the line with a Red Bull clutch.
We've spoken about it so many times within this matchup, but Crashies in these impact rounds have just been absurd. Of course, a little bit of help from Kayak to bring him back from the fray. It's always nice when you get 2 bites at clutching out the round, but what an attempt from both Serial and Camo to turn that round in their favor. And even Panatek towards the end, I'll be honest, I thought he had it with how little time was left on that clock.
Nice!
You know they're pumped up when you have to mute half of what Boaster's saying.
That's exactly what I was thinking. That's gonna be the first time I've seen that. He's getting hyped, he's stood up, and he's hyping Crashies up. Ultimate now online for Crashies, but it might not be used here. Look at the weaknesses for Team Liquid. They have kept their credits. This is a play for the next round.
They're good with hero guns.
That, and it's going to be Fnatic back in the lead if they lose this one, but they'll have the money to fight back. That's all that matters.
Okay, a lot of awkward positions to fight from. Alpha up above has already managed to clear out 2.
Rifle down.
Yeah, it will be retrieved by Panatek though, and he's not looking to just sit pretty. He wants to try and clear some ground. In fact, the Viper's Pit's going to be invested. Now, they expected this. 2 Stingers on the other side. Normally, that's an absolute stinker of a buy, but in a Viper's Pit, hey, that does damage.
Oh yeah, they have got some real opportunity, and look how far back Nats is playing, allowing Panatek and Kiko to be the one taking these duels. Ult put into play, Nats falls back, but Kiko still close, gets his Blade Storm, but he won't land the shots. Crashies drops him with the wrap around from Panatek, not expected. They are thinning out the herd, leaving it down to just Nats, but he's up close in the pit. There's nothing more dangerous than this Viper. And he gets his venom into them. The Stinger, the one to close it out and put 9-8 on the board. Team Liquid back in the lead. And you know what? You said it, Tom. Pretty good with the hero rifles.
That was the hero Stinger that brought home the Red Bull clutch. I also think you have to look at the importance of that 1 kill here coming through from Kiko, because it was actually the usage of that Armageddon to force Nats out of the pit. He had to run all the way out of it to get away from the ult, and that extra little bit of time that Kiko bought allows him back into the pit. If he doesn't get that kill, they lose the round. It's almost guaranteed. That one little play, and okay. Not the gun I was expecting to get a kill in this round. Kiko down, hero rifles of their own.
Right there.
This could be a response. Liquid have got to be careful.
Inches away from seeing a battle onto Camo as he was recovering his flash. Battle on the side being given up by Fnatic. They're going to play this one very passive indeed. And it's no wonder why. There's a lockdown in play for this squad if they want it. And they're hoping for over-aggression. They're hoping for a pick to be handed over into their favor. Flash, no, that's the ult. being held, and now responded in by Chronicle, who I think has caught one. Yes, indeed he has, but Panatek is still up close. He's defending his stunned up teammates. The salvos barely avoided. A sliver of health left. Good flash. Patty's blind, goes swinging deep, and they'll get another rifle out of that. When Nat's already tagged low, a real opportunity now. They've pushed them back to belt, but the ranged fight with the recovered rifle, that stands well for them, and the walls blocked them off. At least for now, the Mosh was able to deny, but Camo falling leaves this round in jeopardy. It's Fnatic's with an easy defuse and a well-fought response. They lose to the hero rifle and respond like for like.
Yeah, that was one where you have those bonus ultimates ready to be thrown in, and I think Alfia firstly did an incredible job just being able to sort of hold the line. An opener as well for Chronicle, who's definitely had a quieter game individually. Of course, a role he switched back to after time and time on a Sentinel and Controller, of course. But after a huge victory comes a huge fall. Liquid 9-9, and sure, we talk about teams having 2 bites at the cherry, 2 opportunities to make it in towards that international, but there is no easy road from this point onwards. You get 2 chances, the second one is so much tougher in that lower bracket with teams that they've already gone close with throughout the season, with Foot building up momentum, with BBL down there with them, and even Na'Vi have looked dangerous when going into this playoffs bracket, so there is not really anybody you want to be facing. First time round definitely seems the easier of the lot, and while Liquid, they are going to call another pause. As mentioned, the last one was the start of their 5-round streak, same on the last map as well. The second one, well, it actually did nothing. Fnatic were able to close out in the end.
But it's a great point you bring up, Tom. Not just the fact that you're 1 game away, but you'll be 2 when you drop down below, but the fact that it's Na'Vi first, and maybe that's the lesser of 2 evils, but then the winner of Foot and BBL, neither of those teams had firepower. And I mean, Foot, again, in the group stages and the early stages, sure, they didn't look too great the last time either of these teams faced them. They're able to best, but the reality is that last game we saw from them, they hit another level.
Yeah.
They made the changes they needed to, and now that's not going to be an easy game with elimination on the line and victory just around the corner. For Team Liquid, they need this map and another to lock in that international event to avoid the lower bracket run of nightmares. That battle not favorable for Nats.
That's the gun.
They've got the weapon. It's going to be defended by the Mosh pick. Kiko goes deep. He's played so aggressive so far, but with a ton of success, even on 2 HP. He will survive, but the rest of his squad has fallen.
Yeah. Kayak styling.
Can't use that.
He is paving the road to what would be his first Masters event, his first international, and one that I think many will look at as not necessarily a surprise, but only a matter of time. I was going to say if they close this round out, but I think the story is more so when. Crassie's position is one of the weirdest spots. I think if Kiko had cleared that, I would have asked them to check him PC. But that is now just 3 rounds away for Kayak to, well, be another one of the Polish alumni that have made it to international events. He's not going to be the first in that case.
No, but one of the most promising, especially stepping into this roster, as you said earlier on. Big boots to fill, but he is doing that and then some. They are bursting at the seams with this man. Coming in on the Sage as well, an unusual pick, and what a way it would be to book in your slot at your first international, far from the first for Fnatic. The potential return to 4 Masters events, not somewhere they've done well recently. Chance to recover on that reputation.
Fnatic again have gone for the full retake. I think what they've been doing with Teo, sort of clearing a lot of these aggressive angles, has helped them out massively.
You should run.
Crashies, in fact, has been huge, but this time they don't have the counter lockdown available to them. Last time out, they were able to buy a little bit of extra space to get into position. Instead, Liquid have used this to get positioning of their own. In fact, look how far forward they sit.
They've got no utility. They have to make up for it with the Brawn already dropping Boaster. That's the Viper's Pit out of play, and a lot of the hope of this round having already fallen. Kayak has a res. He's going to use it. I thought maybe they would let this one slide, but no, they want to battle. Kayak with the self-heal, but he's taken down, and now Crashies with it all to do. It's Nats dancing around on the high ground. And it is over. As we move into round number 21, 10-10, tied up neck and neck.
I like the fact that Liquid really are happy to just fight them up front. I think realizing that the benefits of their comp, you have those extra flashes, and sure, okay, you do have a few nades that can be used to clear angles, but they're using a lot of those for the take. They're using those as the danger is there early. So instead, when it comes down to the late round, they're like, okay, let's set up in their face. Let's not allow Fnatic to have that retake. Let's not allow them to throw in the slow in combination with salvos to try and take us out. Let's make them adapt to the way that we're playing, and well, in that round at least, the firefights went their way, no clutch to be had. It has been a back and forth throughout. This second half especially has been a lot less about the streaks of rounds and much more just one either side. Both teams' economy on the brink here. Kayak, he's as close as could be, but Kiko and Serial immediately find opening picks. That's a save.
Battling for that third map, and yeah, they've pushed Fnatic to the limits. There's no chance with those immediate fights swinging the other way. And hell, I'll put my money on Kayak in those tighter angles.
Oh, yeah.
In those close fights.
He's got 25 kills. I don't think he'd be mad not to.
He's not doing too bad, is he? But yeah, he is dropped early on, and that forces the hand. But Team Liquid, they're not happy with just a round victory. They want economic supremacy, looking to push deep and remove some of those weapons, but eventually Nats takes a look at the scoreboard, sees the credits. He will just back off into their own spawn, carrying their own rifles through to the next and allowing Fnatic to reset, because at the end of the day, the lead is back in their hands.
Yeah, that's the main thing. It's been even all the way through. This was a round that really just playing into the contact of that A site, not giving the game away, because Fnatic have been quite happy to play the retake in a lot of these scenarios. This time playing that little bit more aggressively, putting Kayak, the best player in the server currently, onto the contact spot, and Kiko just wipes the floor with him. As said, when we saw this map, historically for Kiko on the Jet, he's fantastic. Like, where he's always had these huge individual performances. Wow, if he's coming more alive, I was going to say alive, but he's 17 and 12. He's still having a decent game. Here we go, though. Very aggressive early taken towards middle, but I think that was purely just to break some of the utility and then fall back.
Yeah, put that pressure on, see if there's a response from Fnatic, if there's a head to be ripped off, and if not, settle for the turret. That's an information vacuum for Fnatic. Conscious that players could now cross through that window, move into kitchen, and backstab Kayak on top of the wall. You'll see that angle held by operator players, but they're usually a little bit lower down. Yeah. You can see everything. And Team Liquid, they've lost the opening pick, they've lost camo, and that's a lot of not just the ultimate that was in his back pocket, but a lot of your punchy utility to break through that defense is now left for the next round.
That's definitely a rough start. That's something you might see if a Sage is picked in your ranked games on this map. Kayak just pulls it out in maybe one of the most pivotal rounds in this entire series. A chance for them to level things up again. Ultimates firmly in their favor for this round, and you can see Boaster's only plan is to deny them the plant. But with Kiko managing to get so far forward, and even hearing some of the steps, it all comes down to this fight, and he wins it again. The second time he's managed to eliminate Kayak from this position and give his team the site. The main thing, though, is the time. 17 seconds as they go running in. There's an Armageddon and also the Salvo still online. They could deny this plant.
10 seconds left.
Armageddon's going to win this round. Salvo's already sent through. Here comes Armageddon. It's going to be a deeper plant, but not deep enough. I think it'll actually just about get in, but they're swinging in for the fight. The battle with the knife to close it out for Chronicle. A heavy investment from Fnatic, but one that they are happy to put on the line. He knew that the plant had to be stuck. But taking steel out there is a bold maneuver.
Yeah, Chronicle bought a knife to a gunfight and won. I think he just ran out of bullets, but even still, what a ludicrous round. But yeah, that was just perfect from Crashies again. Like, we could talk about the kills, we could talk about that he isn't necessarily on the feed, but he forced them to reposition time and time again. Yeah, I think maybe just a bit of a blip.
What am I doing, bro?
What am I doing, bro? He thought he was in ranked for a second. Oh, that's outrageous. At 11-11.
Bladestorm brought in. Thrash also available. Kiko is just looking to brawl, and he has Nats alongside him. This is not a sneaky beaky lurk. This is a run straight down mid play. And already it has ended in an even scenario. Straight out with the Thrash, but Serial's the one to give them the advantage. A really good opportunity here for Liquid to take the lead.
Kayak's been caught. Luckily Chronicle hasn't, but while he's busy defending his teammate, there's a flank all the way around. I'm not talking about Crashies. I'm looking at Kiko on the other side as Crashies falls. This round is very much in jeopardy. Up the steps he goes, his timing perfect, his position unpredictable, and he's not gonna go for the knife kill. Neither the ult nor the third weapon in his inventory, as Chronicle is left his own devices, looking to just carry this weapon through to the next at this stage. The round's already gone. Team Liquid have landed themselves at 12th round, and they want to take the weapon out of his hands. 12-11, overtime guaranteed for Team Liquid. They're looking for a third map.
I think with the weaponry being removed as well, ultimates being expended quite a bit over the last couple from the side of Fnatic, this definitely puts them in a good spot. And well, they're going to see that pause being called by Milan to try and bring a little bit of semblance back into this one. Of course, your map choice and the decider of Fracture, clearly a level playing field for either side. I also have to say I love the call from Liquid. 11-11, you're on your opponent's map choice, a map you've struggled on, a map that you've not reached 10 rounds on so far this stage. Run it down mid. Yep. Bladestorm put in, Nats just sprinting through his own Viper Orb, and the fact that that ends up being what takes over the round, Serial having a decent performance there as well. They're playing ballsy, and I have to respect it. Like, this is, again, as I said, like, this is a map that you have had a horrific time on. There's so many that you look at throughout the pool for Liquid where you go, okay, this is where they come in with an advantage. This is not one of them. This has come down to just the sheer grit of the players that are on the other side. They do not want to head into that lower bracket. They do not want to risk Toronto. They want to get it done today.
Well, the timeout pulled in for Fnatic, and worth mentioning as well for Scut and Milan. I think this is obviously one of the higher stakes matchups that they've faced as well. The pressure on in the background and the emotions will be high watching this game. And have had their last chance to sit down with the boys and course correct. As we move into the final round of regulation. Viper's Pit online for Boaster, one away from Alpha Yair's lockdown, and then another aggressive play from Team Liquid, just going straight in towards B. No mid-split this time, expecting perhaps an adaptation from Fnatic, but Kayak's got a play of his own, up on the wall. He won't find the pick, but they do deny the plan.
That's definitely going to make things a lot tougher. It's not like the other side where there's a Sage wall or something to respond. The response that is there is the usage of those lockdowns. Plant will be found. Viper's Pit sent through, and while Camo is going to be caught, there's not really anything that can be done by that. It's just whether or not they can punish him.
That's the thing. I mean, they can definitely get up there, but they're being slow about it, and there's a player already waiting for that swing. Camo comes out of the ult, no longer detained and able to take down Alpha Yair. A problem brewing. Crashies finds one, Viper's Pit, but they're on him, straight on him with the shorty. It's denied as Kayak tries desperately to pull this back with the position of Kiko. It's too much to handle. Chronicle with it all to do. A 1v2 and a Viper's Pit decaying it down. From the grave, Serial claims the map, and we go all the way to Fracture.